Backstage, Marky Ramone, it's back to Hollywood.
Hello there.
Like we say, it's the home of rock and roll high school.
That's right.
Tell us about joining the band. I mean, how did you get the call back then to replace Tommy? I mean,
Either they were going to fire Tommy or they were going to wait for him to leave. The Ramones wanted to come off as like a unit, as brotherly love. That's what they wanted to convey. But you know, he really wanted to produce. You know, he didn't want to tour anymore, and he was having a little friction with the group. So he made the right choice. He left the group, and then Dee Dee asked me to join the band because they used to come to my shows with Richard Hell and the Voidoids and Dust, my first group. They would be in the audience watching me play. So then when they knew that Tommy was leaving, it was very simple. They just asked me to play with them, and that was it. Plus we were label mates. The Voidoids were label mates with the Ramones, Sire Records, Seymour Stein's label. So the transition was easy.
Hopping from one act to the other. Were you a Ramones fan before that? I mean, you guys.
Oh yeah, we all watched, saw each other play, saw them the first few shows. They weren't fully developed yet, image-wise, or their music. But it was a place to go to, you know, max the CBGBs to get better and play, and eventually they became the greatest. So they persevered, and that was the result.
Wow, it was a string of how many albums?
What is that?
How many albums did you do with them?
9 studio albums.
And it started with Rock in Russia?
1,700, Road to Ruin. 1,700 shows, and I was with the band 15 years.
Fantastic.
So it was great.
Well, you're just talking about going around the world, playing in Russia and China and the UK and all that. What is it like to see the adulation or people loving the songs in countries that don't even speak the language?
Well, it's a small world. You realize it's a small world, and the information age is here, and they're very westernized. They like what we do here, and they like the good things, and it shows in their taste of music. So you get this whole new generation of fans that like Ramones music, and they weren't around when we retired in '96. So they all grew up, and now they can go out.
It's amazing to go out to the shows like the Warped Tour and all that, and see, you know, the Ramones and then Black Flag and Misfits who just seem to live on past their, you know, their.
You mean the original Misfits? The
original. But it's just the T-shirts. Seeing the T-shirts, you know.
The only way I think of the Misfits is with Danzig, and Doyle. And Michael Graves.
Oh, of course.
Not the way it is.
No. The original all the way. But what do you think the enduring quality of the Ramones has been? Because like I say, you talk about new generations coming up. And
lyrical content, energy of the songs, they can relate to it. That's what I think. It's very simple. You know, it's just it relates to youth.
Simple, fun, and energetic.
Exactly.
That's great.
And that was the aim.
That's beautiful. Well, let's just talk for a minute about making Rock and Roll High School. I know Rodney Bingenheimer and, of course, Roger Corman, everybody was involved. You shot a lot of it here in L.A., or all of it, I guess, downtown.
Yeah.
Where was the high school that they blew
High school
up?
was in Watts.
In Watts?
Yeah, rundown section.
Oh, man.
It was an abandoned school. We took it over, and that was it.
So this is before CGI. You actually had to explode.
Well, we got permission to use it, and those were pyrotechnics, obviously, but it was very hot. The flames were very high. I felt it behind me when they went off, and I'm wearing my leather jacket. We all wore leather jackets, and it was getting hotter and hotter. And I didn't want to turn around because it wouldn't look right. So I just continued facing forward to the camera. But it was pretty hot. But we took over the school. Took about 6 weeks to make, and it was a Roger Corman production. Alan Arkish directed it, and that was it.
What was your greatest memory of the movie?
The greatest memory. Well, we had to line up. Well, a bunch of our fans lined up outside of a downtown theater. This is the exterior of the show that we did inside. It had nothing to do with where we played. We just
Right.
walked into the place. That's how
Sure.
movies are made. So 6 in the morning, there was about 150 people online waiting to get into the theater, and it's Rodney Bingham driving us to the theater. We get out of the car and we have to lip sync and dance to I Want to Have Something to Do, which is the first song on Road to Ruin, the first song that kicks it off, the album.
Yeah.
So we're walking down the street so early in the morning, you're smelling the ham and eggs, people going to work, they're looking at us like we were aliens that just landed, but we had to do like 3 takes. So we come back again. So that's the one that I remember the most. It took hours.
The actual concert, where it filmed at the Roxy, or where was the actual performance?
That was the Roxy.
Yeah.
So we did that a few times too. And a lot of the eventual punk bands that formed were in the audience, or formed a year before were in the audience, because obviously they were Ramones fans. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of, you learn how movies are made. You have to wait around a lot, but it cost only $250,000 to make, and it made back its money 10 times over, so everybody was happy.
Cult classic.
Not just about the money,
Yeah.
but about the way the movie came out, because of the lack of finance that we had and what we had to utilize to make a good movie.
Everybody had to give and put it out there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, coming full circle, please introduce your new singer on the incredible tour that you're on, bringing the Ramones music to the world. Look who we have.
WK, right?
Andrew WK.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Straight from the Black Sabbath tour, and of course your solo stuff on the Warped Tour. How did you get involved with Marky, and what does it mean to be able to sing the legendary Ramones lyrics every night?
Well, we met through a mutual friend, a man named Steve Lewis, he's actually at the center point of a lot of connections. He's one of those guys that just is out on the scene and is very creative and very hardworking. And I had worked with him several times, different shows in New York City and on my own venue, Santos Party House, because he has a lot of experience in nightclubs and venues and concert scenes, and just one of those go-to guys. And Marky is even older friends with him, going back to his early days.
He helped run Studio 54 with Peter Gatien.
Wow.
So that's how we got to know each other.
Can we do our part of the interview together? Or
Yeah.
my part of the interview together?
Yeah, absolutely. Move your chair just a little in. And what is it about Andrew that made the perfect choice to come out and sing?
Engages the audience. I like his endurance. I like how he, obviously how he performs up there, his voice too, and I like the fact that he likes to party, and the most important thing, he engages the audience,
Thank you.
and that makes them feel a part of it, which is true, and it's a whole new thing. It's 2013.
Yeah. And I guess when you look out in the audience, you see the old fans and you see new fans every day.
Bridges the generation gap.
Because I
Wow.
never got to see the Ramones play. I'm a good example of that, even though I'm a little older than people that are coming to the shows tonight, for example. They played in my hometown, actually. You played a show at the Blind Pig in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I grew up, but it was an 18 and up show. And at that time, in 1991, I wasn't 18 years old, so I would, by the time they broke up in 96, I really had barely moved to New York City at that point, and never got to see so many great groups. And what's exciting is, one, the music has lived on by its own power, and then Marky has harnessed that and amplified it by actually playing it live still with an actual Ramones member. So to be able to serve that legacy, to serve the music and serve Marky is an incredible opportunity for anybody. Yeah. But to actually, sing those songs, especially someone who I didn't think I was the most natural candidate for an opportunity like this, it's extremely humbling, and it's also very motivating. And I can say I'm a better singer just having done these shows that we've done over the last 6 months or whatever than I ever was before. It brought me up to a higher level, and that's just one of many great things I've gotten out of it.
Now, Marky, have you taken this to countries that the actual Ramones in their day never got to? Is the itinerary expanding?
I've been to places that the Ramones would never dream of going, or would have thought to have gone. China, Russia, Vietnam, Hungary, all these places that are so westernized now, mainly because of the music. So also I played Rock in Rio in front of 250,000 people. So that's the largest audience any Ramone played in front of. Not boasting, I'm just saying how much of how it expanded the Ramones' legacy since 1996. So I think Johnny, Joey, and Dee Dee would have been very proud of this, because obviously every artist, musician wants the music to be heard by more people. So,
Sure.
It's growing. I mean, that's to me, I can tell as an outsider,
right.
and someone much younger, is it's bigger. It's bigger now than it even was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And you can't anticipate when things like that happen for anybody. You hope to have things keep going, but for something to keep going on its own power, just by the sheer quality of what was built is really remarkable, and I think it will keep building forever. I think it'll be bigger, 10 more years from now.
Yeah, it seems like, again, the band were pioneers, what you did. You've influenced so many people, and it's time to continue to celebrate, that legacy. And like you say, the songs are just so straightforward, so simple in so many ways that, again, you don't have to be fluent in English to sing along or certainly to feel the energy.
Well, they're too good not to be played.
Yeah.
That's my answer to these questions. And again, there's a whole new audience that weren't around, and now they're able to go out. They're not little kids anymore. So that's really cool.
Now, with such a deep catalog, how do you put the set together?
I have close to 400 high 8 videotapes of the Ramones. You're talking hours. So I watch videos. I have watched the videos, and I've noticed what the reaction is to each song. And then I would pick the best songs out of the set list. And this is it.
Yeah, we've seen in the documentary, all the home movies that you shot. So, was that preconceived, or is that just something you thought of at the time?
At that time, bands were putting out DVDs. I said, well, originally I wanted it for me and the band. Hey, check this out. I would look at it, friends. But then I said, well, let me put something together and see what happens. So I had all this footage, and then I compiled it all with other things, and Raw became the biggest selling DVD and gold in 3 countries, which I was amazed, and I was executive producer. Whatever, everyone needs a title.
Yes.
So I hired an editor. He put it together, and that was it. And I can make a part 2, part 3, part 4 if I want. I just found 50 more tapes in my parents' place that when they moved, they took them with them, but it didn't know it, So I opened up the case, and there it was.
And what format were you shooting on back then?
That was 8, not high 8. They're a little different.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was just something fun to do, just documenting what you were doing.
Yeah, I wanted to see how we were playing. I wanted to see the crowd reaction. Just little things like that,
Now, obviously, everybody wants to hear the hits, but is there new music in the works? How do you introduce new music when people want to hear so many of the standards?
Well, I did 2 albums with my band, and when we did tour, kids were yelling out Ramones songs. Play, Blitzkrieg Bop, Sedated, Rock High School. So if you're coming from such a impressionable group, it's very hard to compete, and I would never compete with the Ramones. But you're in that position where, okay, I'll play the Ramones songs, I know them very well. So that's where I am now, keeping this legacy alive musically around the world. Did I like my group and the originals? Yes, very much. But again, the bulk of the kids and fans that came out wanted to hear those gems.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Andrew, obviously you're stepping in the shoes, so to speak, of Joey, legendary frontman. How does it differ as far as your performance from what you do, on your own? What do you channel, or what do you put into a performance that is unique to this band?
Well, the most different thing is I'm not Joey, and I couldn't be, no matter how hard I tried. The idea of even trying to fill his shoes just seemed so absurd. It'd be like an actor. It'd be like, okay, I'm gonna fill James Dean's shoes.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just was, it was a chance to sing the music that was so fantastic. And it took all the effort I had. I really didn't have any more physical energy left to try to sing like any person. It took all I had to sing the songs at all. And it's just impossible to be Joey Ramone in the best way. That's what made him who he was and why he is so inspiring to so many people, because he encourages you to be yourself. He encourages you just to be who you are. So that's what I take from him, is I get to be me now and sing the songs as best I can. And out of respect for him, I would never try to imitate his voice. I think that's actually disrespectful. I think the songs stand alone and speak for themselves, and he sang them the best he could, and that's all I'm trying to do as well.
So you're able to put your own spin on them,
Oh yeah, of
and
course.
still
Yeah.
give the people what they want.
Hopefully, I mean,
Yeah.
again, the melodies, the lyrics, the words, the phrasing, the delivery, you realize that the songs, they live on their own. They exist out of space and time, outside of personalities, outside of individuals. For better or worse, it could be kind of, scary to think of things like that, but it's a very mysterious and strange phenomenon that these songs exist at all. And with all due respect to even the creators, I think when you create something that's that extraordinary, you even become baffled. Like, how did this ever happen? How did this come to be? Can't plan things like that. And that's when people try to mimic it, they're not going to get that magic, because it emerged out of a very strange realm of the universe that we don't understand.
And that's very true.
Don't try and recreate it, just do it.
Do the best you can, and the energy is inspiring, and ride that on into your own adventure.
Yeah.
It was Twilight Zone for sure.
Now, Marky, when you go to Russia, is it kind of special that the Ramones had an album called Rocket to Russia?
Well, at the time in '77 when that album came out, obviously, communism was still there, and we are American and we're capitalists, so communism, capitalism doesn't go good together, and they were capitalists. So rocket to Russia.
Yeah.
The guy in the bomb going over there. But now that the wall came down in Germany and all this, everything's a lot more relaxed. I think if Johnny, Joey, and Dee Dee were alive, they would have played there for sure because of the change. But again, it's a great. I've been there about 4 times already, so I built up a pretty cool following. So I see it, So who knows? Music brings everyone together.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
So it's obviously the universal language, and that energy and release is really cuts across every language and culture.
Yeah.
But tell us the story of a country or show you went to that just, was kind of awestruck, like, wow, how do they even know this music?
Argentina, Brazil, unbelievable.
Why do you think the South American audiences have been
Well, I think they relate to the energy. They relate to the fact that we're called Ramone, and they embraced us. We were their Beatles there.
Going way back, right? I mean, even during the raw footage.
That was the first trip?
Yeah, 60,000 people in the stadium.
It was insane.
It was so loud, it was like a jet engine. The whole place shook.
And
So-
did you perceive that? Obviously, you knew you were playing a big venue, but going into it, did you ever expect that?
Well, we knew where we were booked,
Yeah.
but the details, you really don't know everything until you get there, So we were pretty amazed, and it kept up, and it keeps up until now, So we were embraced pretty heavily there.
Yeah.
and still are.
That's beautiful.